Hey, what's up, my uplifting life partners? This is Ron Simplified Myers. Today, I wanted to come talk about the topic monogamy. Is it overrated? Well, I had a gentleman, we were talking about relationships, and we got on this particular topic, and he made the comment. He says, I am 100%. See, he didn't say 88, he didn't say 75, he didn't say 90. He said, I am 100% sure mankind was not meant to be monogamous. Well, there are a lot of people that would totally agree with him and believe that, like in some countries, you can have as many wives as you can afford. And so with that kind of thought process, and I told him, I said, here's the key. I remember when I was younger in my wild days, and you guys know my story. I've talked about the fact that I wanted to be the player, the man, which meant having a lot of girlfriends. I lived that life. I lived that in my younger years. And then I lived the committed life with my wife, who I was with for 32 years. And those of you who don't know that, I lost her 5 years ago to cancer. But we're together for 32 years. And I look at the two, playing the field, which is basically what he's saying. And it wouldn't be playing the field at that point if we're not into monogamy, if our culture just said you sleep around with whoever you want. Because really, that's what people are talking about when they talk about monogamous. All they're talking about is sex. Now, they won't tell you that, but that's all they're talking about is sex. They just want to be a person that says, I can have sex with anyone. And they'll use the comparison like with animals. That's what makes us different. See, animals, and I forgot somewhere in the lion family that the mom has to actually protect her cubs from the dad because the dad would kill them. So there's a difference between us and animals. Let's quit doing these comparisons between us and animals. The difference is animals live in a stimulus response world. Things happen, they respond. As human beings, we have the ability to stop, pause, think things through. That's what makes us different. And that includes the monkey, which I won't get into that conversation. But we need to stop the comparisons to animals. Now, the bottom line is when we talk about this, like I said, for me, I went on both sides. I like the committed stage. I really do. That's why, like right now, I'm not out here dating and doing all that stuff because I know the direction in which I'm heading. And I'm looking for someone who complements and heads in that direction. Now, is that because I've been taught that? I don't believe so. For me personally, I just like knowing I have a person that I can count on and that can count on me. And that's not many people. You know what I'm saying, a lot of relationships. Because when you get into a lot of different relationships, which means just sleeping around, which is really what they're saying, there's no commitment. There's no one that has your back or you have theirs because there's no loyalty anywhere. It's like everybody's just out for themselves. Now, what I was sharing with him also is eventually there's going to be that young lady that you become attached to. And I shared with him the story, like with me and my wife, like and I said in the earlier years, when I was out there trying to be the man, I had a dream, which I call the nightmare, that I caught her cheating. And I woke up and my heart was beating fast, my shirt was sweating, and I realized, man, you really care about this girl. And it was like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I called her up. I said, I love you. And I was committed from that point up forward. See, folks, that's going to happen to you. I don't care who you are. If we had open relationships where everybody could just sleep around, well, we can already see where there's problems because it's like I said before, everyone's going to run around now trying to keep their emotions out of the equation because they're going to be someone that you sleep with that you're going to get attached to, kind of like what I just said, what happened with me. And once I realized, I was like, I'm not losing this lady to nothing and no one. I was committed from that point forward. Well, I'll get to that point. But if you're in that kind of environment where that's not accepted, you either have to hold back that feeling, that real strong emotion to someone else. And they would have to hold that back from you. Or we're going to put it out there in the world and get our feelings hurt because they're told or been taught it's okay just to sleep around and just mess around with whoever. I mean, it's not meant for us to be with one person. And I believe that not to be true. And the more I shared that with him, the more I told him, I said, because one day there's going to be that one young lady that you really want to be with. But because she's in an environment where sleeping around and being with whoever doesn't matter, she's going to want to be with someone else and spend more time with them than she does with you. And eventually, you're going to get crushed because you're going to get attached. I even say that in the countries where you can't have as many wives as you can afford. I just have a hard time believing that those ladies, the way they feel about themselves has not been tarnished. Because when you know you may want to be with your partner tonight, but he's with someone else because that's who he likes more. He prefer to be with her, but you're attached to him. I can't imagine that not eventually bothering you. So personally, I think monogamy would become the natural state of being, whether it was a law in your state, your country, or whatever. And again, I think in other countries where that's acceptable, I don't know, I haven't heard, and maybe there is countries where women can have as many husbands as they can. I think in our society, people would go, what do you mean? And they would have a problem with that. But we don't seem to have a problem thinking it's okay for men to have as many wives as they can afford. The bottom line is, as that old saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and it's true. If we think it's okay for men to have as many wives, or not even wives, but be able to not be monogamous, then we have to feel like it's okay for women not to be monogamous also. And I believe when you're in an environment like that, a whole bunch of folks, images, the way they feel about themselves is going to drop even worse than it is today. That's the number one topic I deal with when I'm talking with people, is how people feel about themselves. They don't feel they're valuable. They don't feel they're worthy. They don't feel they're enough. That's the crisis we have now, where monogamy is what's being taught. Can you imagine if you're in a world where it's not taught, or in an environment, I shouldn't say world, because in the world it's not necessarily taught that, but in an environment where it's not taught, man, your self-worth would take a serious hit, even more, because you start to understand there's nobody out there who wants to be with just me. And as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity to watch my videos, go over to ronsuchannel.com, the letter U, ronsuchannel.com. Leave a comment on this video and other videos, and also topics you'd love for me to talk about. I would love to share those. And make sure you subscribe to the U channel while you're over there, the YouTube channel, while you're there. And also, you can get a copy of my book. It's at relationshipfreebook.com. Again, relationshipfreebook.com. Get your version of the book. Give me feedback on that also. That'll definitely be appreciated. And as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. How do you feel about that? Would you want to know that nobody is committed to you ever? Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.